Welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. I hope all of you wolves out there had a beautiful weekend. I'm sending you all love and the highest vibrations. The full moon energy is approaching us as we get closer to October 20th, and we can see this market is looking ready for a short-term pullback before continuation to the upside into the month of November. So in today's video, I'm going to dive into the Bitcoin and XRP charts to share my short-term analysis for this week and what price targets to look out for. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious people to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. My email is in the description box to get in contact with me for access to the course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So we have this upcoming full moon on 10/20/2021, which is the 293rd day of the year, leaving 72 days left in the year. And I was bringing this up on my last YouTube video, so if you haven't checked that out yet, please go ahead and give that a watch. And what's really special about this 293, I could show you really quickly. If you take 2 times 9 times 3, that's giving us the 54. This 54 number has been very important in my work, but the name of this upcoming full moon is the Hunter's full moon, or the Hunter's moon. And of course, right there, we get 54 in both ciphers. This shows you how powerful this code is and how well it works, even with the names of the zodiac signs, with the weeks of the year, with pretty much everything. So this is pretty important to see that 293, which is also a prime number, giving us that 54 when you multiply 2 times 9 times 3, giving us 54 in Hunter's moon. And what's also really important is Hunter's full moon gives us that 73 in Chaldean, and 73 of course is the 21st prime number, and that 69 and that 21 prime comes back to Saturn. So remember, 73 is the 21st prime number. Saturn has the 21st prime number, and that comes back to Saturn in multiple ciphers, but more importantly in the Chaldean. And then it also has that 69, which is a huge connection there. So another more important thing here, Hunter's full moon, giving us that 73 in Chaldean, and in that same cipher we have Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, giving us that 73. And I've exposed this before, how Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus are who are running this market under the sun and the moon. So that's 73, of course, coming back to 21. And the power of 21 in cryptocurrency is quite important because the first crypto ever was Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has 21 million coins in supply. And this number 21 coming back to Saturn, and of course Saturn is Satoshi Nakamoto, and I've been making all of those connections now for months. I'm sure you guys are well aware of that. But this is really important that we're getting that 73 connection with Hunter's full moon, because it's telling me that there's a change coming. And that change in character we've already started to see, with Bitcoin coming within just a couple of percent of its recent all-time highs back in April. And remember in April when it hit its all-time high on the day of April 14th, which gives us the 144. I've been bringing up this 144 and the power of it quite a bit lately, but if it's coming back to this Jesuit order and a lot of other things. But I have a lot to say about this 144 number. I've discussed it in the past, but it's just interesting how it keeps coming up in my work quite a bit. So anyways, another thing to consider is the following day after this full moon would be the 21st, and this is giving us 72 in date numerology when you add it up as 10 plus 21 plus 20 plus 21. And that 72, of course, comes back, well, not only here, but it comes back to Bitcoin. And this 72 connection here with Bitcoin is massive. So, of course, half of 144 is 72. And there's just so much to say on this, because of course the next day, the following day, will be giving us that 73. And we just talked about the 73 with Hunter's full moon. And whenever we're getting a full moon or a new moon, we typically have the energy 5 days before or after surrounding those lunar cycles. So what that means is on the new moons, we're typically bullish for 5 days, up to 5 days before, up to 5 days after. And then on the full moons, it's bearish 5 days before, up to 5 days after. It's just a range of time that we could expect a pullback, or it's a range of time that we could expect a microcycle top. So now we're at this stage of the bull run where it's pretty much full on bull mode. Once we enter mid-October into the end of October, that's typically when the bull run starts to show itself, especially in Bitcoin, and we've seen that happen. We have some key things to talk about in the analysis, but I'm just going to wrap this up really quickly with more of our decode. Of course, the next day after this 23 and that's 74 that we're getting right there. So it's coming back to this. And remember, Lucifer is the goddess Venus. It is the light bearer. So this comes back to the morning star or phosphorus or eosphorus. So whenever we're getting those 74s, that's definitely a transition of energy as well. Something to keep in mind. The next day following that will give us the 75. And that 75 is coming back to Hunter's full moon with the 75. Absolutely amazing how this Hunter's full moon keeps coming up over and over and over again. And then also we have cryptocurrency, which is giving us the 75 in the same cipher, right? So one other thing that's interesting about cryptocurrency is we're getting that 52. Of course, there's 52 weeks in the year, and cryptocurrency tends to do really incredible around the 52nd week of every year as we transition into the end of the year. And we saw that happen this year, of course, when we were breaking through the New Year's. Bitcoin was approaching all-time highs. It was already about double of its all-time high in 2017. And the alt season started to really begin. We had one alt season, and now I believe we're on our way to a second alt season for the finality of this bull run. So one other 75 connection, of course, is the people who are running this show, the New World Order, and they are comprised of a bloodline that goes back to Sumerian times. That's inclusive of the Jesuits, the Jews, Catholics, all of them. They're all part of the cult, and this cult worships Saturn. They are the cult of Saturn. Every major religion that we know about to this day, all their origins come back here. And this is very important to remember because Saturn is Father Time, who is also the king of Earth, the king of this matrix that we are all bound to. So this day is also this transition out of Libra. So the 23rd, 24th, we will be transitioning out of Libra into Scorpio, and that is where things will get really spicy in this market as we approach the 44th week of the year. Okay? 44th week of the year coming in around that new moon. So let's see what the exact day is. The 5th of November, technically. Really exciting times. Now let's get into the technical analysis. So we had our weekly close coming in yesterday, and if you look at my cursor and look to the left of the screen, Bitcoin actually closed the weekly at all-time highs. Now, why is this so much more important than closing above recent all-time high price? Because this is a closure on a macro time frame. So if you guys rewind back to maybe like a month or so ago, maybe even 2 months ago, you heard me say I'm anticipating a new all-time high for Bitcoin as early as the second week of October. So it's absolutely amazing that that's pretty much what we saw, because these macro closures are way more important. I'll show you. If we go over here to the line chart or an area chart, which is way more important than candles, we could see that was the close right there. It closed on actual all-time highs. And if we were to go to price action, looking at wicks on the candles, which is quite irrelevant, but we use it anyways just because it's a little bit more normal in TA to be doing all of your TA based off of candlesticks. We are within 3% or so of the previous all-time high, which was just a little wick, okay? It didn't even last that long. So if we were to go off of the actual trading that we saw for those couple of days, we're about 1.5%. So this is all-time highs, essentially. When you're in cryptocurrency and you have this much leverage and you have all this, futures, options, etc., it's going to create liquidity to be much more drastic and not as accurate. But here we are. We're pretty much back at all-time highs. It's amazing to see. And I really like the fact that we've topped out a little bit. We could see we have four candle bodies that are starting to show a little bit of a topping out structure. Not going to last too long. It's just the full moon. And we've seen this happen time and time again. If I bring up the full moon, you can see we're pretty much getting dips at every single full moon. And that white circle right there is the full moon if you're new to my work. And you could see at every new moon, we're pretty much hitting highs. There was a couple of instances where this didn't work out too well, and I have the answer as to why, and it was because of the eclipses. So we had back-to-back eclipses right here, which were bearish, and we're about to enter 2 back-to-back eclipses on the 19th and 4th of December, which I believe will be extremely bullish. So this was an energy reset, and these 2 that are incoming will be an energy, it'll build up the energy, and then it will release it all. Again, Shemitah, which I've been discussing in my work for months now, Shemitah started on the 7th of September, and that is, the translation is release. So these 2 back-to-back eclipses will build up the energy, and then they will release it. And they'll release it from Bitcoin, as Bitcoin being the coin of Saturn. This will create a huge energy wave into the altcoins. And this is how this market has worked on cycles. In 2017, it was the same way. So it's really interesting to see how this is all playing out. And I believe this cycle that we're experiencing right now for Bitcoin is identical to the 2013 cycle. And by October 24th, 25th, into that transition, into the monthly close, Bitcoin was actually trading at all-time high prices. But if you go back to the weekly closes, we'll just show you this real quick because it's very important. I'm going to go to logarithmic scale. I'm going to go to the 2013 bull run, which was right here. Oop, sorry about that. And we will see right here, that's 2011. So here was the highs in April. Remember I said we recently hit our all-time high in the 14th of April. We could see we hit the high here on the same exact week. And if I keep my cursor right here and scroll over, you can see the week that we closed at highs. It was the 14th of October. Huh. That's interesting. It's the same exact week we closed at highs, but we didn't close at all-time high prices. This is the same exact structure that we're getting in this bull run so far. You can see we had our highs coming in around this day right here. And if I draw my cursor over, we could see the closure in the second week of October at all-time highs. So it's beautiful how this is just an algorithm. It's actually quite predictable now. I believe my work has exposed this. It's just an algorithm, and this algorithm is ran by astrology, numerology, and Gematria. So we had our weekly close extremely bullish. We can see that this 21 weekly moving average now is quite a ways below us, but this stage in the bull run, we will most likely never test this 21 weekly again until the full moon of January. So remember what I just said. I'm anticipating Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs in December, then having a pullback, a bull trap into the new moon of January, and then retesting the 21 exponential with closures around that transition of the full moon of January into February, and then a huge market crash. So we have this 3-day closure actually coming in today as well. Yep, we have a 3-day close, and we're so far above all these moving averages. But what's most important here is the 21 exponential on the 3-day is sitting around 50K. And on tonight's closure, it's going to scoop up to about 51,000. And this is making me feel really confident into saying that we're never going to trade below 50K on closes probably ever again. That was it. That was the last chance down here. And that would make a lot of sense because typically what we're seeing is on these full moons, we're getting structure. So we have right here lows, higher lows, and then right around, maybe around this level here, we'll get higher lows. So that's structure and a reversal because you have the highs, higher highs, and then, of course, anticipation of higher highs. Anyways, for those of you that are aware of trend, that's kind of unnecessary to discuss. But right here, with this 21 on the 3-day being around 50K, that's making me really confident that we're not going to go much below that level if we're going to get any pullbacks. So here we have the 2-day. 2-day, again, the 21 exponential is actually in line with the Rosh Hashanah highs. You could see that right there. So again, I don't really see this going much lower than that. Let's get to the daily and I'll give exact targets. So right now, what I'm seeing is this market looks extremely bullish. We have all of our key moving averages in bullish posture, the 8, 13, 21, 34, 55 in correct order. Let me actually turn on my 200s. I'm not entirely sure why I shut those off, but I'm going to turn those on right now. And remember, I was telling you this is a key indicator to look out for, guys. When this when this 200 exponential moving average crosses above the 200 simple moving average, that's game over. That's like full on bull mode. So whenever we see that cross, that's massive. And it's definitely something to pay attention to. I suspect it'll be coming in really soon. And with MACD on all time frames, bullish, I just really have nothing bearish to say about this market right now. I am short-term bearish just for this full moon and mostly on altcoins, because this is the stage of the bull run where Bitcoin starts to make small pullbacks and these altcoins make much more dramatic pullbacks because the Bitcoin dominance is starting to reverse. Remember I said once it starts closing dailies for Bitcoin dominance above 45%, we're going to start to see a change in character in this market, and that's exactly what we're getting. And when we get to 50%, which I assume will be the beginning of November, that's when it'll really be noticeable. So the month of November is Bitcoin's month. It's probably going to go from around 70K to six figures pretty quickly. Something to keep in mind. During that time, Bitcoin dominance is going to definitely get stronger, and the altcoins might look sideways up until possibly the full moon of November. That's all just buying opportunities, though. That's not me saying anything negative. So on the daily chart, we're seeing the 21 now is actually approaching above the previous breakout wicks. That's a very strong sign of me feeling confident that we're going to hold structure. And I guess structure at this time, if we had to draw a horizontal line, it would be somewhere around 53,300. Let's look at some fibs just so I could secure my thesis on this. Okay, so you can see the main area now that we've been holding daily closes at that 888 fib. It's a very key level. I've taught everyone in my mastermind course, and it's something that I do when it comes to pulling a bearish retracement on the fibs for buying opportunities. So this is in a bullish pull, of course, and we could see that once we started closing dailies above that 786, we quickly went to the 888, and now we've held the 888, and I suspect if we close a daily below it today, that would be indicative of a short-term pullback. Perhaps we'll start closing dailies below this 8 simple moving average, but that's completely normal. So we have to watch out for a retest of the 786, of course, being the top of the golden pocket, and then we have all this room down here. I'm kind of getting to the point where I do not believe the 618 will get tested ever again. It's pretty much it. That's we're in the end of a bull run, so everyone just kind of has to deal with that. Remember, back here, I was very bullish because I was getting so excited about that pullback. But over here, you heard me say live in a video, I'm bearish right before that bigger correction. So I like to flip, a little bit ahead of time just because I'm anticipating the opportunities. And right up here, a lot of people are getting bull trapped. A lot of people. And this is just how the market works, especially when markets are bullish over the weekend like we saw on Saturday. So I would just look for this 21 exponential. I would keep following it for any buying opportunities. And these bottom wicks right here around 53 make a ton of sense. I don't think we're going to be closing dailies below this 21. And if we do, I believe this 34 will give us support. So 52,000 would not be weird for me just because BTC equals 25 in Gematria. And that in reverse, of course, gives us the 52. But then BTC also gives us that 56. And we know that 56 is extremely strong because it comes back to these guys. And, of course, 57. So I'm looking for that area for sure. Like this whole 702 fib to 786, that would make a lot of sense for us to just come back into that area and fill it out before just going ballistic. So maybe a little short-term W action before the end. And now when it comes to upside targets, it's obvious. Once we get to any wicks above these previous highs on October 15th, we're going to all-time highs. And I think we'll probably just blast through the all-time highs pretty quickly. Once we enter price discovery, it's that 1618 we want to look out for. But using Gematria, I'm always considering that 72 number with Bitcoin, like I showed you earlier. And 72,000 is in the cards. Of course, we have Bitcoin giving us that 72. So I would not be surprised if we got 72,000 sometime before the 7th of November. So we have November being the 11th month, 7th day. Then we have the 72,000 target. That would be beautiful seeing it all come to fruition. But with Bitcoin, and given how it's so tied to Shemitah, and Shemitah has to deal with the sevens, it would be amazing if we hit 77,000 on the 7th day of the 11th month. 11 times 7, of course, is 77, and Shemitah is all about sevens, so that would be beautiful to watch that happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it's just something to keep in mind, how to use the code for this market. Let's move on to XRP and wrap up this video. Hope you guys have been enjoying all these nuggets of information. You know, I'm really trying to make quality videos here with lots of red pills. So this is amazing. Last night we had a little bit of a liquidity event. I actually was in a crazy big short trade. I closed it at 102, and I knew it was going to wick off of this 200 simple moving average. So remember all the analysis that I've been sharing with you guys, talking about how this 200 exponential and 200 simple for XRP is a very critical thing to consider. So just be cautious when it comes to this coin at this time, because a lot of people are trying to trade it, and it's just very choppy. We've been seeing the wicks on this coin have been massive lately, so be careful out there. But I'm going to give you some targets to consider. First, let's look at our weekly close. Let me turn off these this moon phases. Okay, so this is a sign of weakness. We actually closed below the 8 simple moving average on the weekly, and unlike Bitcoin, that's just closing on new highs, right? So remember I told you guys this. I said anticipate the month of October to be extremely bullish for Bitcoin, where it's closing these highs and the altcoins are going to be lower. And it's interesting to see how this all plays out, because we have our highs, then we have our lower highs, then clear lower highs. And because we're a couple days from a full moon, where do you think this is going? It's going to the downside. So we want to look for that 21 on the closures. We're a full week away from that. So as long as we're closing next week above $1, that's looking pretty solid. Otherwise, we're going to get some price action, maybe in the mid 90s. So we have that 3-day close, I believe. Yes. So we have a 3-day close today. This is looking pretty good. You see how it's structured right now, where it's at, where it's holding support at this level. It's because all of our key moving averages are around this level on the 3-day. So that's another thing to consider. It's also in line with the 382 fib. I'm leaning towards, I don't think we're actually going to come down as low as the 236 again. We're probably going to hold structure. So what that means is something like this, maybe like that. You know, where we do like get a wick down into 90 cents, something like that, just to really shake people out, because that's what XRP likes to do. It always likes to have this sharp move to the downside like this before just popping up. So you can see it right here. Sharp move pops up. And that's always something that I look for the 2-day MACD cross for confirmation. So let me show you what I'm talking about. It's a little combo. I'm going to turn off these moving averages and just leave on my wolf cross. And we have crossed, we're getting a little spicy over here on this 2-day MACD, so this might cross bearish again, but once it crosses bullish, and then on top of that, this gets solved, you see how there's a wolf cross here, and we're potentially going to get another one? This is telling me that sometime in like mid-November, like maybe 11/11, or 11/7, that date right there, we're going to see XRP make a move. It's going to start to recover, and then it's going to have that crazy move to the end of the year. So somewhere, let me show you, right around here, you see this little move where we have wolf cross after a little distributional top. So we have here, distributional top, wolf cross, and then we come back into it and then struggle a little bit for some days. Look at where the dates are, from the 12th of October all the way till the 7th or 6th of November. Look at that. Right around here, 12th of October, same dates, and then we're struggling a little around here, and then we just do a last little dip up before continuation. And you see where it's testing these moving averages down here? It's at the 200. So we just retested the 200 last night. And as we close dailies where we're at, this is going to naturally move to the upside. So keep an eye for the 92 cent level, just because that is where the 200 exponential moving averages on XRP. That's your downside target for the full moon. And then, of course, upside targets, we have that 140. That level's important because of Gematria, but also it's because it's the local highs. Until we're breaking above that and closing dailies into the golden pocket, it's going to be sideways. So we're sideways on XRP, and we're just going to have to deal with that probably until late November. And I will let you guys know when I'm getting really bullish on XRP. It's going to be after this full moon, probably into the new moon. We're going to start seeing some more structure. But as of right now, this coin is looking, it's a big opportunity. It's really a big opportunity because it's repeating fractals from previous years. And I love seeing stuff like that because my analysis is sort of exposed that this whole market's running on an algorithm. So I'm going to leave it at that. Really a lot of information in this video. Definitely might need to watch it again if needed. I'm going to let this one ride out through the full moon, probably make a video the day after the full moon or so. In the meantime, I'm going to be keeping in touch with my mastermind community over on Patreon. Probably do some voice chats with everyone soon over on Discord. And then, of course, probably Friday this week, we're going to do another live stream. I had an incredible time on last week's live stream. You guys are amazing. Had like 700 to 800 people on it at the same time. So looking forward to this upcoming week as well. Enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.